Hello everyone, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Allison.
And this is Nerd of the Week, randomly generated fandom podcast.
Thank you for joining us this evening.
This is NPR. No, it's not. I'm lying. But
I said you wanted it more NPR. I tried to do it. I tried to play along.
I appreciate you. Thank you for going with this gag that I do not know how long I'm going to hang on to. Generator, would you like to tell the good people listening what word we brought to the or you brought to the table, I suppose?
The word of the week is echo.
All right. Definition of echo.
A sound that is reverberated around an enclosed area such that it repeats back to the place or thing or person that originally emitted it?
Right on. Okay. A sound or series of sounds caused by the reflection of a sound wave from a surface back to the listener, or be repeated or reverberate after the original sound has stopped.
Ah, okay. I think I said some of those words.
You did. Yeah. You definitely got reverberate in there.
Nice.
And then
I think I meant to say reflection. I didn't, but I meant to.
All right. I mean, you got the point across. Like, people would know what it is.
Thanks.
There's also like a similar definition, which I guess it makes sense. It's a close parallel or repetition of an idea. So like an echo of your feelings, or
the echo chamber of social media.
I think that's just the whole point of spewing out words and then it coming back at you. But
everyone just wants to hear that their opinion is right.
Yes. And
well,
you know what?
We're here to echo at each other, and listeners, maybe you'll be enlightened.
Be enlightened with our I don't know if my opinion is right so much as it's just mine. But
it's not right, but it's mine. Oh my.
Right.
Cool. Wait, who goes first? Me?
Yes, we're good at this.
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay.
Because I definitely didn't bring a quote, so it must be I go first.
All right, Allison, tell me about Echo.
Okay. So it's actually kind of, I guess, seasonally appropriate. I was going to bring this regardless of the season because I literally couldn't think of anything else.
Fair enough.
We had a real quick turnaround and I didn't have time to sit and stew so much.
I've been on my game this week.
And I have not, apparently. But anyway.
Oh, no.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I don't mind talking about this media. I was probably going to bring it at some point. But anyway, so I will talk at you about How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the live action with who is it? Jim Carrey?
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey.
Yeah, because Drew Carey is the whose line is it anyway?
Yeah, different Carries. So I assume you've seen this.
I have.
Okay, good.
I love this movie.
Okay, good. I was gonna say, what are your feelings on it?
Existential crisis. His like quote on the mountain when he's like, "No, I can't go. That's it. I'm not going." Like that whole rant just gives me life.
I have nothing to wear. I'm not going. Well, we'll get there in a second because that's kind of where Echo comes in. Mm-hmm. But I guess for anyone who's not seen it, which at this stage would be wild, I don't know how you've escaped it of the Christmas movies.
Right.
You know, it's one of those ones that just, it comes on the TV.
It's like Elf. It's on there. And you may not have seen all of it, but you've definitely at least seen some of it.
Mm-hmm. You at least know it exists.
Yeah. Also that.
So it's kind of like a bigger, broader story of the original Grinch, which of course is the adorable little animated short.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Seuss, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the basic premise for anyone who doesn't know, because I might not get through the whole story, because we're going to do another Mimi take, of course. But basically, there's the Who's who live in Whoville, and then the Grinch lives on Mount Crumpet, which is a goofy name.
I didn't know it was named Mount Crumpet. That's excellent.
Yeah. Anyway, he hates the Who's, and the Who's love Christmas. And it is Christmas time during the story. The Grinch decides he's going to ruin their Christmas by stealing everything. So he dresses up as Santa Claus and he and his dog Max, he pulls poor Max into all of this. Max
I
is
love
innocent.
Max. Max is a good boy.
So they go down to Whoville during Christmas Eve after Santa has already been there to deliver all the gifts. And they steal everything away in the Grinch's homemade sled, and they take it up to the top of Mount Crumpet to dump it. That's why it has to be called Mount Crumpet.
Oh, so it rhymes with dump it.
Yeah. But then, just as the sun is coming over the horizon, before he has a chance to pull the sled off the mountain, he listens to hear the Who's all cry, boo-hoo, because their Christmas is gone. However, what he doesn't hear is the cries of sorrow. Rather, it is the song of joy, the Who's happy holiday song, which I'm not going to sing because it's dumb.
It's an earworm and it doesn't leave your brain either.
Yeah, so we won't subject anyone to that right now. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'll go back on my promise later in the episode. We'll see.
Oh, no.
Anyway, and then he realizes the true meaning of Christmas isn't to have presents and parcels and bags, but rather just to have the people around you that you love. Except in the movie it rhymes, and I can't remember what the rhyme is. But anyway, his heart grows 3 sizes that day. And of course, everyone in the medical community jokes like, oh no, he has dilated cardiomyopathy, he's gonna die.
Right.
But in all reality, apparently his heart was 2 sizes too small before. And so now it's grown 3 sizes. So it's like he has the biggest, warmest heart of all. And he takes all the presents back, and the Who's are happy to have the presents, but realize like they just needed each other anyway. And the Grinch stays and has their Who feast with them, and he himself carves the Who roast beef, and everyone's happy. So that's the basic Grinch Stole Christmas. In the live action movie, there's also a love interest and a small child on the brink of young adulthood. So there's more intrigue to the story.
Yeah, Sally, or is it Sally?
Cindy Lou Who.
Cindy Lou Who.
Yes. So she is kind of like the main character other than the Grinch, because she also is feeling like, what's with all this commercialism of the holidays? Why can't we like just enjoy each other's company? And her dad is like, well, Cindy Lou, this is the point. We all buy presents and we decorate and we see like who's the best at celebrating Christmas. And she's like, I guess it just seems a bit superfluous, which is great vocabulary.
That's actually why I know the word superfluous from this movie.
And then the Grinch, he's like on a scouting mission one day to like just go and wreak havoc in Whoville once. And he kind of like encounters Cindy Lou in the mailroom, because Cindy Lou's dad is the postmaster general, so Cindy's allowed in the post office sometimes.
Got it. Okay.
And the Grinch was there delivering jury duty notices to people instead of Christmas cards. And so Cindy, she goes into the mailroom and she sees the Grinch and she screams, and he screams back, and everyone just keeps screaming. And then she's like, "You're the," and he starts mocking her like, the Grinch. And she gets like thrown backwards into a pile of gifts, and then he gift wraps her and makes his escape.
Oh, I forgot he gift wrapped her.
Yes, he wraps her up in paper. And then her dad comes in and he's like, Cindy, where are you? She's like, I'm over here, Dad. Like all wrapped up in the paper. He's like, oh, Cindy, you've been practicing your Christmas wrapping. Like he does not understand that something bad happened to her. He just thinks like, oh my gosh, she's really getting the holiday spirit. So he's a proud father. He feels like he had a breakthrough with her that day. But that is not the case.
Oh, poor man.
He just doesn't really see eye to eye with his young teenage daughter. It's okay. Also, there's Martha Mayhew, who's the prettiest Who in town. And there's like some flashbacks to when the Grinch was a child, when he first arrived in Whoville, which all the Who's come down in little baby baskets, like just floating out of the sky, basically. And his is like this old, tattered, gross one, and it ended up on the doorstep of these 2 old Who ladies which we don't know their relationship. Scandalous. Anyway.
Ooh, intrigue.
So they take him in and raise him, and they try and like make him a good boy, but he's like just a wild kid. You know, like how some young boys are, I guess. And he's green. That's a big distinguishing factor. He's green and hairy, unlike all the Whos, who are normal people colored and not hairy.
Yeah.
So all the kids make fun of him, but then there's Martha Mayhew as a child, and she doesn't really like that the other kids are making fun of him, but also doesn't really do anything to stop it.
Sure.
But like she just doesn't participate. So she's like a bystander, which I guess some people will be like, well, then she's complicit in it. But not really. She just didn't want to get involved. But
right.
The Grinch loves her. And for their big Christmas decoration exchange, he's like, I'm going to make her the prettiest angel to put on top of her tree. And he like does all these arts and crafts. He like makes this stained glass angel in his basement. And it really is like quite pretty. It's all sparkly and has all these different colors. And he like welded it together. It's very nice. And then since he was made fun of for being hairy and having a beard when he's 6 years old, he tries to shave his face and it doesn't go well. He gets all sorts of like little scratches and what is it called? Razor burn?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. And then he's got like the little like things that they like indicate that he like little bandages all over his face.
Yeah. And so he knows he can't show his face at school because they'll know that he messed up. So he covers his face with a paper bag, and this teacher's like, I want you to put first, he's like really trying to hide his identity. So he like has a book like stood on his desk in front of him, and his teacher's like, you have to put the book down. And so he does, but then he has his like foot up on the desk, blocking his face as well. And she's like, and your foot. And then it's just this paper bag. And she says, and now I need you to take the bag off your head. And he has to, and all the kids make fun of him.
Aww.
Again. Like this poor tortured guy. You can see why he doesn't like the Whos. But anyway, so he tried to give the angel to Martha May, and all the kids made fun of him during the gift exchange, and he throws a tantrum and he smashes the angel on the ground. He lifts up their Christmas tree. Like he's a strong boy.
Wow, yeah.
For being 6, he lifts up this huge, like, 10-foot tree, and he throws it through the window or something, and he rushes out of the classroom, and that's when he actually runs away from home, and he climbs up to the top of Mount Crumpet, where he can't be bothered by the Whos, and they can't be bothered by him anymore. So he lives up there all alone in this cave, which is basically the dump. So all of these people down in Whoville, like, they just put their trash into these little trash chutes, and it all gets sent up to his cave.
Oh.
And he sorts through it all and like finds little treasures, and he actually has like a pretty nice little setup that is the place that he like mainly lives in. And like every day he's like, oh, come on, Max, we've got a new delivery. He goes and finds cool stuff. Let's see. One of the things that he's got like this old stereo, or you know, like those phonographs, I guess.
Yeah.
Where, like it's a record player. There we go. Obviously, sorry. And so he's listening to some music, and he's like in his recliner, and has this robe on, and he's still like talking to himself, and he's like, I don't care if anyone thinks I'm an idiot, or I don't remember exactly what he's saying. But anyway, he's like, I'm just here all alone. No one to bother me, just my thoughts. And then he says, oh gosh, this is where Echo comes in, and I can't remember anything about it. Oh no.
He's something like, I've got all the company I need. And then he indicates to himself, and I think he hears that, and then he's like, hello?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then I think it's
like the cave echoes back at him, whatever he says. And he's like, you're an idiot. And it echoes back like, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. And he's like, oh, it's mocking me. And he's like, I'm an idiot. And then it echoes back, you're an idiot.
And then he goes off on like I'm not talking to you anymore. I'll just whisper. And then I won't be able to hear it. And then it shouts, you're an idiot one more time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His cave is sassy.
Sassy cave.
Sassy cave. Just then, there's like something that has come through the trash dump that he didn't expect to come through. And it's little Cindy Lou Who. She's like, Mr. Grinch, I came to give you an invitation. And the Grinch is like, what? Why would you come up here? Like, what are you doing? I don't know you. I don't like you. I'm not going to whatever you're inviting me to. And she's like, oh, but it's to our, like, annual Christmas celebration. And I nominated you to be the guest of honor. And he's like, guest of honor? And she's like, yeah, you'll get to wear a crown and they'll carry you through the streets. Aww. And, like, all of that kind of sounds intriguing to him. He's like, oh, I'll be the most important person. They'll have to bow down to me. And she's like, yeah, for a whole day. And he's like, I'll think about it. And he like pushes her back down the trash chute. And she's all pleased with herself. Like, yay, I've done a good thing.
I invited him.
And then the Grinch, he's like trying to talk himself out of going. Because like he obviously doesn't really want to associate with the Who's. But he's also intrigued that like suddenly someone is like showing him kindness and like promised that good things would happen to him there. Which honestly I would think is a trap. I don't think
same.
If I were Grinch, I don't think I'd fall for it.
Especially with
I
how people had been treating him up until this point, other than her. Like, she might be honest, but like the rest of the town, I agree. I would feel like a trap to me.
Yeah. So I think if I were Grinch, my heart would still be 2 sizes too small because I would not have gone to the Christmas bash. But anyway, so he's putting on like a bunch of different outfits that he's collected through his trash goings through. He settles on a pair of lederhosen. And he's like in the mirror with himself and like he's posing, he's voguing, he's feeling it. And then like he's like, that's it, Max, I'm not going. And Max like growls at him like, no, you gotta go. He's like, well, fine, now that you said so. So he takes himself down into the town. And when he arrives, like no one else was expecting him. And he looks at the crowd and they all go, and he like looks at the other side of the crowd and they go, it's like very dramatic. And he goes up to the mayor, who the mayor was one of the evilest kids in his old class. So they've got beef.
Yeah.
But the mayor kind of sees this as a way to like win over political people, I guess, of like, look how nice I am. I'm inviting this outsider in. He has like a political strategist who's always by his side who like says, yeah, it's okay. We can let the Grinch be the man of honor. So they make the Grinch the like lead guy for the whole evening. And there's a fudge competition where people have to feed him fudge. And there's just scenes of him having cakes and fudges and cookies and everything just like stuffed in his mouth. So there's no real competition judging because he just has like a mouthful of food the whole time. And then they have this little chair that they put him on. And they're like bouncing him up and down after he's just been stuffed full of sweets.
Oh, good.
Like, I'm going to throw up.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
And they keep pulling him through the streets. And then, gosh, something else important happens. I feel like there's some disaster that happens that he is the cause of. Oh, actually, first, there's a scene that has chariots of fire in the background. It's like a race or something, and he's trying to beat all these kids. And he does. He wins the first place for whatever this race was. I think he like pushes kids down out of the way. He's like, haha, I beat you. But then I think there's something where like a large tree gets knocked over somehow.
I think it's like it's like quintessential kids movie where like something bad happens that's not technically his fault, but then everyone blames him.
Yeah, and there's a huge power outage, so all of their wonderful Who lights are like out for a bit. And he just kind of like says, "Well, that ended poorly," and goes back up to his cave. And all the while, like with the Who's blaming him again, he's like, "Well, that was that. I guess I'm never doing that again. I learned my lesson a second time." Right. And that's when he decides to take revenge on them by becoming Santa and going to steal their presents. So this is where the song "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch" comes up.
It's a good song.
It is. It's real catchy. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't want to sing it right now, but you know it, listener.
This is not the musical number that our last episode was.
No, this is the absolute non-musical. This is NPR. We don't do music here. That's a lie. NPR's all about music. Come on. I worked at NPR in the music department. Come on. I am NPR music.
Anyway.
Okay, so anyway, the Grinch, he sews this little costume where he's Santa, except the way he sewed it, he has a hat and a vest, no pants.
Yep.
So there's always the debate online of, is that he truly not wearing pants? Or is it because he's furry that this is acceptable? Like, really, he's just strutting around naked all the time in that case. But he's also furry. So is he an animal, like a dog that doesn't need to wear clothes?
Right.
Or is he actually like a weird malformed who that just
it's like the Daffy Duck thing?
Not.
Yeah, right.
I mean, when you're a cartoon character that Dr. Seuss has drawn, like it literally doesn't matter.
Right.
They don't look like humans by any stretch of the imagination. But when you're in a live action film where the Who's resemble humans, except for their noses, like it puts a weird spin on the costuming for the Grinch. So anyway, he then ties a horn or some sort of antler onto Max, because Max is the reindeer, and he makes poor Max pull this giant sled.
One of my favorite scenes is when he puts the red nose on Max too, and then he does all right, you're a reindeer. Here's your motivation. Your name's Rudolph. You're a freak with a red nose. No one likes you. Then, one day, Santa picks you to save Christmas. No, forget that part. We're going to improvise. We'll just get it all loosey-goosey. You hate Christmas. You're going to steal it. Saving Christmas is a lousy ending. Way too commercially. Action. And then Max just, like, bats the nose off. And he's like, brilliant. You reject your own nose because it represents the glitter of commercialism. Why didn't I think of that? Cut, print, action. I quote that movie all the time.
Oh my gosh, you have the lines down.
The Grinch is a vibe.
I think he attaches a rocket to the back of the sleigh as well.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And I remember he, like, somehow the sleigh is, like, spinning down the mountain. And
yeah, it's not graceful.
I'm gonna die. Wait, no. First I'm gonna throw up. And then I'm gonna die. Meanwhile, back in Whoville.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
We have Cindy Lou doing her little Cindy Lou stuff. She sings the dumb song, Where Are You, Christmas? Why Can't I Find You? I hate that song so much.
That's fair. It's
like the contrast between how much I hate that one and how much I like You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch. It's drastic.
Allison has opinions.
I do. I told you it was going to be hot takes. So basically it's just her being like, I feel differently about Christmas than I ever had before, and I don't know what to do about it. Oh well. No one helps her. No one helps her at this point. She's all alone.
That's true.
Her parents love Christmas. They don't understand why she doesn't love Christmas. This is totally Cindy Lou's emo phase. Anyway, the Grinch finally makes it to the first house. And there's this wonderful little montage of how he, like, picks up every little last bit of Christmas from each house. He has, like, a vacuum for one of them. Oh my gosh, actually at one point there's this angry cat that he accidentally vacuums up.
Yes, there is.
And somehow it, like, comes back to haunt him later during the whole montage again. I don't know how it got out of the bag to begin with. The cat's out of the bag, but it comes back to get him.
But
and then he gets to Cindy Lou's house, and he's like getting their tree up the chimney when she comes down, and she doesn't realize it's him. She thinks it's Santa Claus, and she's like, Santa, where are you taking our Christmas tree? And I love this line. He's like, well, you see, there's a light on this tree that doesn't light on one side. So I'm taking it back to my workshop, my dear, and I'll fix it up there, and I'll bring it back here. It's just like so ridiculous, this whole thing. And she's like, oh, okay.
Fair enough.
And so
When you
he
roll a
sends
nat
her,
20 on your deception check.
right? So she gets sent back to bed, satisfied with the explanation. And the Grinch then proceeds to shove the tree up the chimney, breaking all the ornaments as he goes, you know, just Grinchy things.
Hashtag just Grinch things.
And then he also takes all the food for their feast, which hashtag rude.
Right?
Like, that's... I get that it is holiday adjacent, but, like, it's food. You shouldn't steal people's food.
Yeah. That is the biggest sin he commits on the whole thing. Take my presents, but if you take my dinner, I will come after you.
Take my dinner.
I have a specific set of skills.
So as previously described, he takes it up to the top of Mount Crumpet. Again, poor Max, pulling this whole sleigh with the townsful of Christmas all piled up on top of it. I don't know how he does it. I honestly don't. This poor, strong boy. He's a good boy.
He's just a real good boy.
I know. Max didn't deserve any of this. But,
No.
you know, also, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, dogs will probably love whoever feeds them.
Yeah.
Like, as long as there's no real abuse going on, they're probably going to be okay with whatever owner they're living with if they're getting food. So, like, Max doesn't know that the Grinch is bad. In Max's eyes, the Grinch is good. So, I think Max truly is the hero here. He's loved the Grinch all along.
Yes. He's the only thing keeping the Grinch on the verge of sanity.
Yeah,
Not
it's
there,
true.
but almost there.
Yeah. You know what we need? We need a prequel of how the Grinch got Max.
I think there might be one.
Oh, really?
I know there was the movie The Grinch that was voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch.
I haven't seen that one, and I didn't
haven't
know if
either.
it went all the way back to Max's origin.
How did the Max and the Grinch meet?
Did you say the Max?
The Max.
He is the Max. No other Maxes, only the Max.
There's a Dr. Seuss book with the Grinch meets his Max.
That's adorable. How did I not know about this?
Yeah.
Is there a synopsis? Can we know the answer?
Yeah. So thank you, fandom.com/wiki. Reading verbatim from here. On Mount Crumpet, the Grinch has a very bad itch that won't go away. Later, a dog named Max wants to play with the Grinch. The Grinch reveals that he doesn't like kids, money, fun, nice, money, fun, rides, and cakes with pink inside. Max tries to play with him, but the Grinch throws a stick down the hole in hopes of getting rid of Max. But he comes back and scratches the Grinch's itch, and the Grinch agrees to be best friends with Max, and they both go home to the Grinch's cave.
Aw. But where did Max come from?
I think he just showed up one day.
Just a stray dog?
It's just like the universal cat distribution system. It's just,
Okay.
it's the dog distribution system. He just
If you
showed
want
up
a
one
cat,
day.
you'll have a cat. Okay. Interesting arrangement. But okay. So anyway, they get to the top of Mount Crumpet. This is where the Grinch is waiting to hear all the boo-hoos. The Who's do the boo-hooing, but then suddenly they realize, wait, we have each other. I think Cindy Lou has something to do with it.
Yeah.
And then they start singing the song. Grinch hears it. He has like a heart attack while his heart grows.
Yes.
And he's like, Max, come over here, you mutt. I love ya.
Max,
and
help me.
Max-
I'm feeling.
Yes. And then he starts crying. He's like, and I'm leaking.
Yeah.
And Max comes over and licks his face. And the Grinch is like, no, that's enough. So he loves, but he's still not touchy-feely, which is okay.
Yeah. Have your boundaries.
Yeah. And he's like, come on, Max, we gotta save them. So he right then, he sees the sled starting to slip off the side of Mount Crumpet. He's like, no, the gifts, I have to save them. And he demonstrates his strong boy skills again. And he grabs the rope and he starts pulling, and he pulls the sled all the way up and somehow gets underneath it and lifts the whole thing up, like bench presses it. Like, strong man. And then he and Max get on the sled. They toboggan all the way down Mount Crumpet and into the town. And the Who's are like, oh, he's back. But then, like, they can't accept, like, oh, he brought the presents back. They have to incriminate him again.
Yeah.
And, I mean, obviously, because he stole the presents.
Right.
It's a fact, he did. But he's had a change of heart, obviously, now. So the mayor, he gets all upset, and he's like, we should punish him. We need to send him to jail. And then, I forgot her name. The pretty one. Martha May. There we go.
Martha May, yeah.
Martha May. She had just been proposed to the night before by the mayor. And she says, I'm sorry, I have to give your ring back, Mr. Mayor. My heart belongs to someone else.
Aww.
And she looks at the Grinch, and the Grinch, like, looks around and, like, points at himself, like,
Oh, he
me?
just, yeah.
Me?
It's such a cute scene.
And she nods, like, uh-huh. And then the Grinch, like, he can't actually be nice. So he, like, then, like, does this little dance around the mayor, like, ha ha, she loves me, not you.
Uh-huh.
And somehow being loved by Martha May gets him out of, like, all, what is it, culpability? Liability, there we go.
Liability, yeah.
For having stolen Christmas, especially since he brought it back.
Yeah,
I think someone says, like, and look, he brought it all back, right?
Yeah, I think he also said, someone's like, and he said he's sorry.
Yeah. Like, they're all trying to make excuses to him, so the mayor's like, oh my god, fine. Mm-hmm. So they all distribute the presents. The Grinch gives everything back to everybody. They have their wonderful Who dinner, and he carves the Who roast beast. There we go. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's The Grinch Stole Christmas. Only very little part of it is Echo, and I completely messed that part up. So thank you for being here and knowing what I was talking about.
I got you. Part of the reason I knew that bit was because that was almost the quote I brought, but it doesn't technically say the word echo. So I was like, dang.
Okay.
So I had just
Nice.
read that like the other day, and then when you brought that, I was like, oh, I know exactly why we brought the Grinch.
Yep. Good.
He's so iconic. His I'm gonna do the quote with the guy, the 5 o'clock. His schedule won't allow it because it kills me. I love it.
Wait, what?
But the nerve of those Who's inviting me down there on such short notice. Even if I wanted to go, my schedule wouldn't allow it. 4 o'clock, wallow in self-pity. 4:30, stare into the abyss. 5 o'clock, solve world hunger. Tell no one. 5:30, jazzercise.
That's the real evil.
6:30, dinner with me. I can't cancel that again. 7 o'clock, wrestle with my self-loathing. I'm booked. Of course, if I bump the self-loathing to 9, I could still be done and lay in bed, done in time to lay in bed, stare at the ceiling, and slowly slip into madness. But what would I wear?
Thank you for bringing the quotes that I so obviously forgot.
I say that a lot, obviously. It gives energy.
It's giving season.
It's giving season.
I would also like to point out, this is unrelated to the actual movie, but the year Shrek came out, 2 of my Christmas presents were the Shrek VHS and the Grinch VHS.
Nice.
And I thought it was a hoot that they advertised each other in their commercials beforehand. So I would watch them back to back, and I thought it was the funniest thing.
I love that.
That is part of my childhood. Just little green guys.
Just little green guys.
You know, little green guys who are a little angry at the world.
They just have many layers, like onions and ogres. The other random fact I know is that Jim Carrey had to go through FBI torture training to put the Grinch costume on, because it was like literally like 6 hours of makeup application and the fuzz application, and he was like, he almost quit doing it because of
how long did it take to film the movie? Like, how many days did he have to do that for?
A while. I don't know the number of days per se, but I do know that like it was every single shoot he had to be in that, like the full costume, because they would do everything, and it wasn't like they could just do top up or like if he was walking around kind of set. So he was always in full costume. And so like there's an interview with him talking about how this, like, they brought in a guy because they're like, you were literally the only one who can do this. Like, you're amazing at this, and we want you to be the Grinch, and it's for the children.
It's for the children.
Yeah, and so he was like, it was literally like talking about like hitting yourself in the legs so that you stop thinking about being tortured, and like it's wild how much that he hated that costume.
I've just looked up how long did it take to film The Grinch, and it says,
Okay.
since there were no scenes with Carrie out of makeup, every scene he shot required the green makeover. That meant over the course of a year-long shoot, the actor had to wear the suit 92 days out of the total.
Oh, rough.
That's a long time. Mm-hmm. Oh
And,
my
like,
gosh.
in those 92 days, the first like 6 of it was getting into makeup. Just
Oh my gosh.
absolutely bonkers.
Oh my gosh.
So shout out to Jim Carrey for putting up with that for the children, so that I could have those iconic lines through my childhood.
Yeah. I mean, it's made a lasting impact, so obviously it worked well. But wow,
like,
that's intense.
Yeah.
I can see why they haven't made a subsequent live action Grinch since then. They've all
Right.
been animated.
Makes sense. Like they can absolutely be voiced by him, but I don't want to put Jim Carrey through that again.
He may deserve some things, but not those things.
Right. All right. I have another quote for you that's not related to the Grinch movie.
Okay, yes, more quotes, please.
All right.
Do you want me to guess what your quote is from before
Sure.
you even say it? No, I
Let's
have
do
literally
it.
no idea. I have no idea.
All right. Ready? It's just one guy, okay? I've got
Just
to
a guy.
It's just a guy. I've got to concentrate. I've got to concentrate. Hello? Echo. Pitch hitting for Pedro Bourbon. Manny Moda.
What?
I know someone knows this.
I have no clue.
I don't know if you've seen this movie.
I'm going to give it a good guess at the end of the podcast, though.
All right. If you know, listener, feel free to message us on various forms of social media, Twitter/X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Yep. That one.
Did you say Tumblr?
Our Tumblr got terminated for some reason.
Oh, that's
so-
right. I'm so sorry. I forgot.
So
I forgot
think
that
Tumblr
trauma
thought-
we just experienced.
I think Tumblr thought we were a bot, but I'm gonna try again and then be slightly more active on Tumblr so it doesn't think we're a bot. So give us me a couple of days on that one.
Okay. We also just refreshed the Facebook page, so that's now back
did.
up and running.
Yep. And use the hashtag Nerd of the Week or hashtag NOTWP and let us know what you think the quote's from or what quote you would use with the word echo in it.
Do it.
Right. And now
Da-da-da.
for the thing I thought was a fever dream until someone reminded me recently, and then we happened to get this word.
I cannot wait to know what this is.
So this is the series Echo the Dolphin. It's
What?
it's a video game.
Okay.
And, there's 2 specifically that I'm going to talk about because they're fairly short.
Okay.
But the original video game was for the Sega Genesis. I think it was released in the early 90s. I honestly don't know. I played it whenever I was old enough to play games on the Sega Genesis. But, so there's Echo the Dolphin, but I actually played Echo the Dolphin Defender of the Future first. But I'll talk about Echo the Dolphin, the original one, because Echo the Dolphin Defender of the Future is kind of like a 3D remaster of... Or Defender of the Future is a remaster of the original, but also like an improvement upon ? For the Dreamcast, because I played that one first and then I went back and played the first one. These games, difficult, awful, horrible to play.
Can I just say they also sound like they don't look too good?
Well, at the time, they were good. The developer has come on record to say that he was worried that someone would just rent his games and then play them in a weekend when like video game rental stores existed, and he didn't want them to be able to play it in just a weekend and that they'd have to rent it a couple times, so he made it really, really difficult.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And like he literally said that, and I'm like, rude, because I was like 7 when I played this the first time, and how dare you. But also, Echo the Dolphin is this like sleeper agent horror game, which no one prepares Tiny 7. This is probably the direct line to my thalassophobia, but
what?
So we start with this cute. So the original Echo is just a 2D like side scroller, and then the Defender of the Future is 3D, where you get to like swim in the water and go in all directions. But you start off with Echo just kind of vibing. He's a bottlenose dolphin, I think so. I think it's the one that like everyone thinks of as a dolphin. And he and his pod are just like vibing in the water, swimming, and then a pod mate of Echo like challenges him, and they're not physically talking, but they like echolocate at each other, and then like little words appear for us humans to be translated, and then they go into a how high can you jump out of the water into the air competition. So that's like, it's like teaching you the game mechanics. And so you jump up into the air. After about 3 or 4 of them, like you're going higher and higher each time. And then this freaking whirlwind tornado appears and just sucks up all your dolphin friends into the sky.
What?
Except for Echo.
What?
And he's just alone in the bay. And so he's like swimming around trying to find what happened. And he ends up finding, I think it's an orca, a killer whale, that tells him he needs to travel to the Arctic to meet the Big Blue. And the Big Blue is this old, wise creature that knows everything. And if anyone's going to know what happened to his pod, that guy's going to know. So then you have to go through this like absurdly difficult series of levels with like getting into like really deep water. It's unsettling. Like it is. I have thalassophobia. I don't think I had thalassophobia at the age of 7, but this probably contributes to it. And I blocked out a lot of this game until I was like re-looking into it.
Wait, this means fear of open water, yes?
Fear of open water, yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry to cut you off. I heard a really interesting quote on Instagram today that's related to that, though.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Where someone was saying that 80% of the ocean is in the twilight region or darker, meaning that it's like basically pitch black. And then based on like the ocean to land mass ratio, that means 60% of the entire planet is completely like in pitch black all the time. And also like there's some square rule or something where an animal can only grow to a certain size before it collapses under its own weight, but it doesn't apply underwater. So all of these creatures that live in the pitch black can grow to ridiculous sizes if they so choose. And that's 60% of the entire Earth. So isn't that fun?
Cthulhu monsters. And don't worry, we'll get into it with Echo.
Okay, go on.
Cool, more Nightmare Fuel for me.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I brought this to the field knowing full well what I was doing.
You've done this to yourself.
My therapist said I have to face my fears, so this is me facing my fears in a safe space.
Okay, we'll make this safe for you. I'm sorry I introduced more fear with that quote. No, please forgive me.
You're fine. It's okay. But so Echo travels through like more and more difficult locations, literally facing like there's like octopus dude, and he's huge, and you can't go by him too fast, otherwise he'll wake up and just like grab you with his tentacles and eat you. And then this is in the era of games where there was no save. Like you just started back at the beginning of the level and you needed to have the code to get to that level. So like you could get really far, die, and then you're just SOL. Like this game was challenging. I did not finish this game as a 7-year-old. I finished this game at like 15 with a lot of swearing and crying. But
I can just picture you like sitting on the floor with your controller just sobbing uncontrollably at the TV.
I was gonna play a cute dolphin game and I got an eldritch horror horror monstrosity with time travel and aliens. So you get to the Arctic, and the Big Blue is a giant blue whale, surprising no one, but he comes out of effing nowhere. Like, you're, like, looking around for him, you talk to a couple of the other, like, sea creatures in the Arctic, and then they're like, yeah, go that way. And then it's just, like, nothing for a while, and then there's this, like, big booming sound, and then all of a sudden, big blue whale. And
wait, is he on your side or is he an enemy?
He's a good boy. He helps you. He does exactly what the orca told he was going to, but he just pops up out of nowhere like, hello, little guy. And you're like, ah. And then the Big Blue says that there's like a storm every so many hundred of years. And the only, there used to be these creatures called humans on the Earth, but they time traveled to get away from the storm. And so it's implied that there's no humans on the planet anymore. And the Big Blue doesn't know what causes the storms, but if the storm happened, that's likely where his pod is, in the storm. So he needs to go to, I think it's just the asteroid, or like asteroid or something like that. But it's supposedly the oldest life form on Earth. And Echo goes, all right, I'm going to go there. So he leaves the Arctic and goes into this deep sea cavern that is even worse than just the ocean, because now the guy who made this game is like, I don't need to stick to like jellyfish and things, I can just throw literal Cthulhu abominations at you. And it's terrifying. And I think there's like at one point a giant like seahorse that like shoots out its seahorse babies at you. But like they turn into like little like gloopy things that like attach onto you. It's awful. Uh-oh. And you eventually find the asteroid, and he is a literal like double helix DNA. That's just in a room for reasons.
Okay.
And he's like, oh, I remember you. You helped me, like, not be crazy 500 years ago. And you're like, excuse me? And he's like, yeah, you need to go to Atlantis, because of course you do, because it's an ocean game in the 90s, where there's a time machine that was left behind by the humans, and then you can retrieve some MacGuffin thing so that you can stop the guys that like try to destroy the planet every 500 years. So that Echo's like, great, cool, I guess I'll go there then. And then he goes to Atlantis, where he finds like an ancient library. All of this is underwater, mind. And you learn, it's like crystals that you like echolocate at, and then it tells you things. And there's, I think they're called glyphs, but they're like basically like a power source, and they're filled with information. And Echo here learns about the alien race known as the Vortex. And the Vortex on their planet, it's implied as kind of like they either like lost the ability to make food, or they like used up all the resources on their planet. So they use different planets in the galaxy as like farmland, so they let them like grow and prosper for so many years, and then they come and just basically like zoop up everything and then like make it start over and just like straight up clear cut everything down. And
that's no good.
Right. And the Atlanteans, I think that's what you call people who would have been from Atlantis. The Atlanteans fought this war with the Vortex. And then the Vortex, because they didn't want to be called, obviously, and the Vortex were like, no, and they fired a beam at it, and that's why the city of Atlantis is under the water.
Okay.
Usual normal things. It only gets weirder in that Echo then finds and figures out how to activate a time machine, where he then goes back like 60 million years or some nonsense to the past. He meets a pterodactyl that he talks to who's
underwater?
like, Well, he can, like, come up, because he has to come up for air because he's still a dolphin. So he's, like, on the surface, and this pterodactyl's like, hey, what are you? And he's like, I'm a dolphin. And he's like, what's that? And, like, they have, like, a straight-up conversation about it. And he's like, that's cool. I can't get over this rock. So then you become friends with the pterodactyl, and he, like, picks you up and, like, moves you from location to location. So he's a chill pterodactyl, but it's just, like, a wild moment, because you've just traveled back to the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And you're a dolphin talking to a pterodactyl.
Yeah.
And then the pterodactyl's like, oh, you know what might help you? Because you're claiming you're a time traveler. This guy might help you. And then it's the asteroid again, the DNA helix dude that had claimed that he had known Echo from the past. And so then Echo locates him. But at this point, echolocate. That's yeah. There's so many puns here. But then he is attacked by it because asteroid 60 million years ago was not a chill guy or DNA strand. And Echo is forced into battle and does like a crazy bunch of nonsense. And it like keep in mind this is a side scroller, and your options are echo at it and swim away like these and charge really fast. So like this is literally the worst fight ever because he's the DNA helix that like shoots out little orbs and like gets you, and if you die you have to go through the whole level again to get to him and then fight him again, and it's awful. And I have a lot of feelings that I'm dredging up from somewhere.
Okay.
And then but you beat him up. And then he realizes that he was upset because the vortex was messing with his mind. And so you like dislodge, I think it's called like the globe or some basic nonsense thing. It's a random orb. It's like the obvious weak spot in a video game situation.
Okay.
He knocked that free. And then he's like, I can't help you now, but future me can help you because I'll think about it for a long time. And then he sends Echo back to the present where Echo gives him the globe that he knocked off of his old version of himself. And he's like, cool, this will give you the power to turn your Echo into a like solar beam of some capacity that you can use against the vortex. And then it also, at this point, gives you like a level up so that you can breathe underwater longer so you don't have to keep coming up for air. Because the last bit is that you go back in time just a little bit to go back at the beginning when your pod gets sucked up into the vortex.
Oh, no.
And then you go with the pod this time. And then you're on an alien spaceship. And their aliens are apparently, which I do like about this is the aliens are all like underwater creatures too, which is kind of a nice change of pace from all aliens like also just breathing air. These are literally like water creatures, so they had to figure out how to bring water onto their ship so they could breathe.
Okay,
but
cool,
which is neat. But you know, you're a dolphin swimming through this and fighting your way through a spaceship with this weird solar power. And then you find the Vortex Queen, which is kind of like a bee queen hive mind, except for like, it's this god-awful Cthulhu mask type thing. Like it's got this opening like maw with like awful teeth, and its head is huge. It's like 17 times bigger than you are, and it's just on a screen of just pitch black, and it's absolutely terrifying. And then that fight sucks too. And then when you eventually do defeat the queen, she's like, all right, Earth isn't worth it, we'll go to the next planet. And like she just spits out Echo's pod back into the ocean, and then you win and you're like, hooray, we saved us. And that is the fever dream that is Echo the dolphin.
Not at all what I thought it was gonna be like.
Neither did 7-year-old Stephanie.
Oh my.
But yeah, so the one I played was Defender of the Future, which kind of took that because it was in the era, I think this one came out in 2002 or some frame. So like 10 years after the original. But so they were like, we're going to put Echo, but in 3D. And so they like were upping the ante with like graphics and stuff. So that's the one I played first.
Okay.
But it's functionally the same game and all the same weirdness, and just gets more and more creepy. It's just more creepy because it's in 3D, so you get like the full feeling of thalassophobia with like the darkness and there's like no walls or space or anything. It's just
I just
constant.
also feel like early 3D was not
Uncanny
good.
Valley.
Yeah.
To be fair, early 3D with dolphins and whales underwater actually worked pretty well because there's already that distortion with the water.
Yeah.
So
okay.
It was cleverly done. Like, it's still like, if you look at it now, you're like, oh, it's really polygony, but it's not. It holds up more than I thought it did because I like looked it up again, thinking like, oh, do I just remember this as more vivid because I was a kid playing it? But it holds up. It's old, but it holds up.
Okay.
It's just also known for being notoriously difficult, and I have a lot of feelings about this dolphin.
It sounds like he deserves to have feelings about him.
He's a good boy. His world is just very difficult to survive in.
Yeah, he's been through a lot. It's not his fault. Mm-hmm. He's just doing his best. I thought I was just going to be a cute little dolphin swimming in the water, hanging out with my dolphin buddies, talking to a baby whale. And then, nope. Friggin' vortex queen aliens kidnapping my friends. It's fine. Usual Sunday night for Echo the dolphin. Oh, poor thing. He does not deserve any of this.
He does not. He's a good boy, and he tried really, really hard. And he wins if you're not really terrible at his video game.
He wins after a lot of not winning.
Yeah, after a lot of screaming and crying. But, what is life if not a lot of screaming and crying before you win?
Now, it doesn't have a lot of dolphin noises in it.
Yeah.
So it's a very high-pitched kind of game?
No, it's more like, like that generic, like, every dolphin sound is this sound in movies and stuff. It's more like just a little bit of clicking and stuff.
Okay.
Like what you would expect a dolphin to sound like. And then I wouldn't call it annoying high-pitched. It's more just like the sonar, that beep sound when you're watching like a submarine movie and it makes like the sonar noise.
Okay.
Just to give you an indication that you've like done it correctly or whatever.
Okay.
The one that sucks is the whale. He makes, because I guess I learned this fact from this game, that whales make this like vibration noise, and if you're too close to it at the right frequency, they can melt your insides.
What?
Yeah, that's what blue whales can do. This is
What?
why.
Is that real?
That is real, 100% real, and this is why I don't go into the ocean. Not that this is a scenario that would happen to me in a landlocked state, but whales, I don't mess with them. But
So you would never go on like a whale adventure?
No. If I was on a boat and I knew the boat wasn't going to sink and I could see the whale from afar, great, sure. But I'm not going in the ocean. I'm not going to go swim with that whale. That whale can go somewhere else and be perfectly fine being a happy whale somewhere else. And I respect him and I respect the ocean. And Poseidon can have his domain. I don't need to be in his domain.
Okay. Okay. I see.
This has become a podcast where Steph justifies her fear of the ocean for 20 minutes.
Hey, justified. I believe you. I'm not fighting you on this. It's not me. Are we supposed to be working through it with you?
No.
Should I try and convince you out of it?
No. It's okay.
Because I don't know if I can.
No,
I don't know if I really like the ocean that much.
I think it's a rational fear. And it's not like it ruins my day to day. It's just, it's my Roman Empire. I think about it more than I would like to.
Oh no. You need to think about better things.
You're right. You're not right. Like my quote. Haha.
Good segue. Hit me with it again.
All right. I've got to concentrate. I've got to concentrate. Hello? Echo. Pitch hitting for Pedro Bourbon. Manny Moda.
Okay, I have two options.
Okay.
Is one of them Napoleon Dynamite?
No, but it's
One of them being one of my options.
one of your options. But
Am I
same
close
kind of,
or far?
It's an older movie than Napoleon Dynamite, but
Okay.
it's kind of the same vein of humor.
Okay, well then that eliminates my other option that I had. So let me think for a hot second longer.
Okay. I'm gonna give you Leslie Nielsen. Leslie Nielsen was in it.
I don't think that helps me.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
It's probably not High School Musical.
It is not High School Musical.
Okay. I don't know what it is then.
It's Airplane.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. I think I've seen that movie exactly once.
I won't deceive you, Mr. Striker. We're running out of time. Surely there must be something you can do. I'm doing everything I can. And stop calling me Shirley.
Shirley. Yes, no, I have seen the movie. Yes. Okay. I should watch it again.
It's a good one. Have you seen the movie that this movie's parodying?
No.
So there's a movie called, I think it's also called Airplane, but without the exclamation point.
Okay.
And it is supposed to be like a serious movie, but having watched Airplane, like it is exactly almost line by line the same, except for they were playing it straight and then the Airplane movie was playing it like up for laughs, and you're like, oh my god, this is ridiculous. It's so good to watch back to back.
Oh my gosh, we should do that.
Yeah, that would be a great movie, and I love this
Add
movie.
it to our list of movies that we have to
Movie
watch
nights.
together.
Heck yeah.
We need to
one's
have
so
movie
fun.
nights more often because our list is getting long.
It's like my list of anime.
It's never going to get smaller.
No, it's not. And I'm okay with that.
Well, that's a good quote. I'm really sorry that I didn't get it.
That's okay. It's kind of a long pull, but it's the scene where he's trying to keep the plane from crashing. And I think the guy's name is like Ted Stryker, and he's like flying the plane and he's like trying to concentrate. And then he's got the echo going on in his brain.
Okay. I don't exactly remember that part. I really only remember the Shirley part.
Yeah. That's okay.
Oh, well.
That's a pretty iconic one.
Yeah. I think I knew that quote before I watched the movie, honestly.
Probably. I think that one got used a lot in kids shows too, because it's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, it got taken out of context.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not a kid's movie by any means.
No. I do like there's a bit where they have the voiceover like in the airport being like, the white line is for loading and unloading only. No, that's the red line. No, I've been saying it's the red line or the white line, and then like the voices start yelling at each other over the PA system. It kills me.
Oh no.
Anyway, otherwise probably should ask the generator what the next word is, otherwise I'm gonna start going on about airplane more.
Maybe you can bring it for whatever the next word is.
Maybe. Very possible. Generator, what is our next word?
The next word is undermine.
Undermine.
Ooh, undermine.
Ooh, I don't think that fits airplane, but
Probably not. It'd be a real stretch, and there's probably something better.
but I'm getting like mystery movie vibes from this word.
I was kind of thinking like war movie.
Also that.
Well,
Interesting.
I have some ideas. We'll see what comes to fruition.
Well, listener, you'll have to stay tuned to find out. I don't know what I'm on about. I think we've reached the end of the podcast. Thanks for listening. We appreciate
I
you
hope you found it funny, because I think we find ourselves funny.
We find ourselves hilarious. So hopefully you find us at least a little bit funny. At least like a tenth of what we think we are.
If you too are only functioning with one brain cell at the moment, you may find us funny.
Yep, we've got one brain cell firing along, doing its best.
But anyway.
But anyway, if you liked us, feel free to share with a friend and let them know how funny you think we are and that they should listen to us so that we can grow as a podcast.
We really want to.
We do. I mean, we're not going to stop doing this, but it'd be cool if we had more listeners. But join the fam. We should come up with a name for the listeners. Listeners, what do you want to get called?
I don't think we should call them nerds. I think that would be too obvious.
That's too obvious. But like how the Stray Kids have the stays, like we need something in that.
And the Blackpinks have the blinks, and the BTS has the armies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Twices have the onces.
We'll work.
Taylor Swift has the Swifties. Don't get me started.
Right.
Bieber has Beliebers.
Believers. I forgot about the Believers.
Oh no.
Nope. We'll workshop it. Anyway, again, thanks for listening, and I think that's it. As always, we've been Nerd of the Week. I have been Stephanie.
And I have been Allison.
And we will never, ever, ever be a pyramid scheme.
We swear on it.
On our lives. Bye.
Bye.